Wir schauen uns jetzt an The 4 Stages of Personal Style von Tuba Avalon. Schau an dich, Tuba. Ich bin immer sehr erfreut, Videos von dir zu sehen. Deswegen machen wir auch als allererstes, gehen wir hier hin, liken ihr Video, wichtig. Und gleiche würde ich euch bei diesem Video auch empfehlen. Liked dieses Video, kommentiert, abonniert, aktiviert die Glocke. Sehr wichtig, weil Support ist kein Mord. Just fucking do it. It's for free. Es ist kostenlos. Deswegen, wir steppen jetzt rein und ich bin gespannt, was so die 4 Stages of Personal Style sind.
Hello.
Tuba wieder mit dem Granny Look, but I love it.
I tend to scream sometimes now that I have a microphone, so I will redo it. Hello. Welcome back to my huge channel, everybody.
Skin is glistening. Earrings is glistening. Hairs are slicked back.
Today I have an amazing topic for you, which is kind of by you again. Yes, I outsource actually my video content and just let you guys work, and it works amazing. I'm just kidding, I also had to work a bit. One of the questions I get the most from subscribers or people in my DMs, whatever, is the one about personal style and how to find it, how to know a certain item, especially if it's an investment, is the perfect style. I know how the route goes to find the perfect style. I hope in some sense you feel like I have a clue about that.
Ich sage euch ehrlich, ganz ehrlich gesprochen, ich denke, ich habe Style. Ne? Ich denke, ich habe einen guten Style, ich habe einen guten Geschmack. Und ich glaube auch, dass ich einen individuellen Style habe. So, aber ich denke mir manchmal so, boah, ist der so distinkt, dass man sagen kann, das ist der Style. Sagt ihr mir das? Schreibt mir das gerne in die Kommentare, schreibt mir das gerne in den Chat, because I don't know. Und das ist so vielleicht auch, weil ich in meiner eigenen Haut stecke, ist das schwieriger zu definieren. Ich kann das bei anderen Leuten klipp und klar machen. Ich kann auch andere Leute stylen, ich kann deren Kleiderschrank machen und denen sagen, okay, that's your style, das fittet dir gut, das passt dir gut. Ich kann das bei mir selbst auch sagen, ey, das fittet mir gut, das passt mir gut. Aber ich kann nicht sagen, boah, das ist mein Style. Mein Style ist... Versteht ihr? Ich kann nicht so eine Beschreibung dafür machen. Und dann ist so die Frage, ist der Personal Style wirklich so narrow und so klar?
But I also asked in my stories because I was really wondering, like, okay, what is the opinion of people of what is the perfect way to find personal style and personal taste, and what is the route to achieve this nirvana? So I asked you in my stories, I received, I say 200 answers, I have not counted. To me, visually the amount looks
nice.
like it could have been 200 people. Can also be 50, but since this is an academic research channel. So at the end, I got so many answers. A lot of people are not in the mood to tell me their life story, but I asked you in my stories, I received, I say 200 answers, I have not counted. To me, visually the amount looked like it could have been 200 people. Can also be 50, but since this is an academic research channel, I say 200. So at the end, I got so many answers. I was really surprised, to be honest, because I thought, okay, a lot of people are not in the mood to tell me their life story, but surprise, a lot of people were in the mood to tell me their life story, which was amazing.
If you ask, people gonna answer.
And what I love. And my heart goes bigger when people tell me about their life, and especially when it's kind of fashion related. You know, if you can always include into your childhood trauma some fashion, it's always more exciting to listen, just FYI. Honestly, I was even thinking of creating something like an Excel to see which answers are the most similar or if there is a certain dynamic, but honestly, this is a chaos channel. It's not academical, this is complete chaos, and we love it this way.
Ja, wollte ich gerade sagen. We love it that way.
So I took the ones that were the most common among those and created those rules. We're talking about the 4 rules to find your personal style, what you have to do to achieve that goal. And before I continue to get into the topic, you know what I will force you to. If you like this content, only then I can force you, unfortunately. You don't forget to subscribe to this channel and also like.
Sie sagt es und sie hat recht. Liked, abonniert den Kanal und schreibt was Nettes.
Leave YouTube cares about likes, so you like, or leave a comment. Let me know what is your essential rule also in the comments to find your personal taste. I think that's a very significant question.
Ich würde sagen, Comfort und Confidence. Das ist so die beiden Cs. Wenn ich mich wohl in einem Produkt fühle und wenn ich mich confident durch das Produkt fühle oder in dem Produkt fühle, dann ist es ein perfektes Produkt, um einen guten Style zu entwickeln. Weil dann weiß ich, okay, ich fühle mich gut da drin, ich sehe gut da drin aus und das ist so für mich die 2 Cs.
In understanding people's tastes. So let me know in the comments about that. You can also participate and join the Discord chat. The server is growing and booming, and it's my happy place where you can find so many people sharing the same thoughts as you have. We have great discussions, we have meetups, we're also meeting in real life. So it's the most beautiful thing in the world, I think, to create something like a community and participate and live something like a community, especially if you are lacking fashion forward people, if you live in a suburb or in a small town like I did, and your parents just think you are speaking nonsense.
Wir kennen es alle. Meine Eltern sind jetzt nicht so modeinteressiert, die sind stylish, würde ich sagen. Also wenn die Zeit und Kopf dafür haben, dann sind die schon stylish, aber kannst auch nicht mit jemandem reden darüber.
And devilish talks. But now, let's go. I have a little introduction for you guys. So, a bunch of neuroscientists published a paper in 2018 called Cognition and Emotion. And it was handling the topic that there are 2 types of emotion differentiations, positive and negative. They tested if knowledge of arts and curiosity are associated with more fine-grained positive or negative aesthetic experiences. They found out that people with positive emotional differentiation were some sort of subtract of curiosity, which reflect a form of enjoyment and engagement for novelty and complexity, while being unrelated to artistic knowledge and perceived comprehension. Negative emotional differentiation was connected to an even higher form of curiosity, which means in this case that a deeper engagement with art is associated with more fine-grained emotional experience. This finding suggests that more nuanced emotional experiences are more likely to expertise in the arts and motivation for exploration. Today we are trying to understand how we can turn our focus more towards ourselves, so we understand our personal style and how we can
Ich versuche auch gerade ein bisschen mitzukommen.
achieve the realization of this personal style. This experiment of these neuroscientists also shows that having a certain amount of knowledge impacts also your emotional experience with what you experience, which also has an effect on finding your style at the end. This study was concerning experiencing art, but I think fashion is very closely related as it is some sort of
Ja, so wie sister form of art oder expression.
art as well. So that's just a very interesting information if we look at our rules. And I think we can start with number 1 right now. And I know you will hate me for having such a basic title, but I just wanted to make it easy. Know yourself. And I know exactly what you're thinking.
True. Know yourself, wie Drake sagen würde.
You're like, Tuba, thank you, props. This is revolutionary. Knowing it myself is something I never heard before. But it's not as easy as it sounds. Guys, people go overseas, stay somewhere for months and talk with the stars to try to get a glimpse of what they actually are. It's pretty hard to get that deep when you're looking at your phone while watching a movie, while listening to a song on your speakers, while trying to have a...
True, weil das alles Distraction ist. Ihr müsst wirklich, also ich habe das früher, habe ich das öfters gemacht. Mittlerweile, ich habe das seit Jahren nicht mehr gemacht, sage ehrlich, wie es ist. Aber ich habe eine Zeit lang einfach für eine Woche oder 2 so das Handy weggelegt und einfach nur mich mit mir selbst beschäftigt. Natürlich denke ich jetzt immer noch sehr viel über alles Mögliche nach. Boah, das, bla bla, was es in meinem Kopf angeht, was so der Next Move, was möchte ich machen, wie möchte ich mich ausdrücken, wie möchte ich sein und so weiter und so fort. Self-Development basically. Aber das funktioniert halt nicht sehr gut, wenn du durchgehend distracted bist von TikTok, Instagram, YouTube und Co. Außer meine Videos, wichtig, die sind auch sehr, sehr gut für Self-Development. Aber sonst an sich tut Stille gut. Und ich glaube, auch viele Kreative wissen das, weil Stille ist uncomfortable, wenn man nicht dran gewöhnt ist. Und dann beschäftigt man sich wirklich mit sich selbst und mit seinen eigenen Gedanken und so weiter und so fort. Können viele Menschen nicht. Aber es ist enorm wichtig, das zu tun. Und wie oft ich auch schon gesagt habe, wie ich zum Beispiel grundsätzlich an so kreative Arbeit rangehe, ist Soul Searching. Ob ich das für andere mache oder für mich selbst mache. Soul-Searching ist sozusagen die Basis meistens. Und halt belesen sein. Und dadurch findest du dich halt selbst. Sei es jetzt Style, sei es Business, sei es wie du dich ausdrückst, wie du dich bewegst, warum du so bist und so weiter und so fort. Alles Soul-Searching. Und dadurch findest du dich selbst.
Senseful thought in your brain that has an attention span of probably like 2 seconds. Honestly, right now, I think my attention span is below 3 seconds. To be very honest, I think my grandpa, I'm 100% sure, he was way better and keeping in attention for something. So knowing yourself is already suffering, like executing this, knowing yourself, we're already suffering under it because we don't take the time to do it because we're so distracted of knowing other people. But what exactly is the distraction? You know, like I have social media, I have a lot of channels, I have a lot of platforms. I only follow people that create fashion, work in fashion or have a say.
Ey, Sam, mein ganzer Tag dreht sich einfach darum. Ihr versteht nicht, wie sich mein Tag um Mode, Kultur, Hip-Hop-Kultur, Kultur in general und wirklich, mein Job ist mein Leben, ist intertwined. So. Es gibt nichts, worüber ich mich mehr beschäftige als das. Nicht mal annähernd, ist nicht mal Platz 2, Platz 3, Platz 4, ist besetzt mit dem, was ich jeden Tag mache.
About fashion. So it actually is pretty okay to understand myself better, maybe to educate myself also, but that's not the only thing you do. And I'm sure it's also the same for you. I guess one thing we also always do while doing that is comparing ourselves instead of thinking of ourselves alone. We need a bench. I mean, it's human. It's pretty natural that we try to compare things to see what's better. We do that every day. We do that.
Ja, diese Benchmark-Dinger, ich versuche. Jeder kann klauen, am Ende ist die Ernte bei euch.
With products, we do that with items, we do that with food, we do that with TV shows. Why shouldn't we do that with ourselves? Look how I perform, look how this person performs, look how that person looks like, look how I look like. The thing is just like you're not a product and you have something like emotions. And the moment you start comparing yourself, there's actually no way out of this. Like even if you think like you checked way more criteria than another person you're comparing yourself to, doing that by itself is toxic and not helping you to know yourself better because you're trying to compete again with something that is not helping you on your own path. If you're following the path of a different person, you're on their path. You're not on your own and you're not trying to understand yourself better. You're trying to compete with that person. And the moment you start to compare yourself with that person, you're distracting yourself from your own work where you can put essential power in. And instead you put that power in something passive that doesn't help you in your life at all and especially doesn't improve your style. All these things in your daily life distract you from understanding yourself while being busy questioning why you are not a certain way. Think about what truly makes you happy, what used to make you happy in your childhood. Usually
das, was ich sage, habt ihr gehört? Denkt einfach drüber nach, was euch glücklich macht und was euch früher glücklich gemacht hat, was so euch geprägt hat, warum euch die Sachen geprägt hat, warum euch die Sachen getriggert hat, warum ihr davon Inspos zieht. Ich denke so oft darüber nach, warum ich Kanye West feiere, warum ich Pharrell als Kid so entdeckt für mich habe, warum ich Lil Wayne feiere. Und ich tapp da rein. Virgil und Kanye, ich glaube, Virgil hat immer gesagt, your 16 years old self, also dein 16-jähriges Selbst. Und Kanye hat, glaube ich, sogar noch jünger gesagt. So, und daran musst ihr tappen. Aber seid euch auch im Klaren, also tappt auch in euren Erwachsenen selbst. Nicht nur euren 16-Jährigen, nicht nur euren 5-Jährigen selbst, sondern auch euren, wie auch immer halt ihr jetzt seid. Und guckt, ey, warum gefällt mir das und warum gefällt mir das nicht? Warum gefällt mir der Status Quo, warum gefällt mir der Status Quo nicht? So findet ihr mehr über euch heraus.
the essence of what we find aesthetically pleasing changed too much. Trying to fit in, wearing generic things only leads to you blending in. It expresses that you don't want to be seen, that you don't have...
Ja, habe ich auch oft schon gesagt so. Und ich finde das nicht mal schlimm, wenn man einblenden möchte mit der breiten Masse, weil man untergehen möchte. Ist safe auch ein Take, den man machen kann. Ist kein Take, den man nicht, oh, dein sei individuell, bla bla. Ich weiß, wir aus der Industrie, aus der Szene predigen gerne, sei individuell, sei Dings, aber wenn das dein Charakter und dein Typ ist, dass du sagst, boah, ich möchte einblenden, ich möchte untergehen, ich möchte anonym sein, dann go for that. That's your aesthetic, that's you. Und das wird auch Gründe haben, warum du so bist.
An opinion or you don't want to have an opinion seen. It's absolutely okay to have an interest in generic items as well. You can also identify with very mainstream generic stylistic features because you say, I have very deep thoughts. Just because I do not like to express these thoughts in terms of styling, it doesn't mean that I cannot reach out to like very basic
100%.
things. You of course can do that. That's a choice. But even this means you know yourself.
100%.
And you thought about it. And this is an
Das habe ich auch schon in mehreren Videos so gesagt und ich kann nur agreeen.
Interesting point we will talk about in Rule 3. But first and foremost, you need to do that very uncomfortable walk in the very depths of yourself where you find dreams and fears. These are the two things that are forming the you that is in the moment right now. I hope it doesn't sound too esoteric, but that's kind of your driving energies in life. It's the dreams, something you aspire to have, and it's the fears that are keeping you away from it. So once you're aware what your dream is and what your fears are, you also understand yourself better. So once you understood
was du magst und was du nicht magst, ja, so gesehen.
What your dream is and what you aspire to be, without any fears, if there are no fears, if you can do whatever you like, if there's no one watching, if you're alone on an island and you can decide what you dress like, and you have found that person, we go to rule number 2. And rule number 2 is called know the rules. Lee often said that you had to learn the rules to break them.
The rules.
In designing and creating.
Das gleiche sagt Rick auch, das sagen auch die meisten Designer. Aber ich muss ehrlich sagen, für mich ist manchmal die Frage, ist es interessant, die Regeln gar nicht zu wissen, weil du dann automatisch ganz neue Wege gehen musst? Oder ist es interessant zu sagen, du kennst die Regeln und gehst dadurch neue Wege, weil du sagst, boah, das ist der normale Weg, ich gehe einen anderen Weg. Aber du kannst ja neue Wege entdecken, wenn du gar nicht weißt, wie der alte Weg ist. Und im Endeffekt ist ja irgendjemand mal auf diesen ersten Weg gekommen und das war ein ganz neuer Weg, ohne dass er sagt, boah, okay. Irgendwann war es das erste Mal, dass jemand etwas genäht hat. Es gab vorher nichts zusammengenähtes. Oder das erste Mal, dass jemand ein T-Shirt genäht hat oder eine Hose oder so weiter und so fort. Was ja auch ganz neue Wege sind. Der vielleicht auch nicht die Regeln kannte. Das ist so, über sowas denke ich manchmal nach. Ja, manchmal ist es vielleicht auch interessant, gar nicht zu wissen, was der Standard ist und dann halt einfach zu gucken, wie man zu seinem Ergebnis kommt, das man haben möchte. Man sagt ja auch, Ignorance is bliss. Wenn du nicht weißt, kannst du halt neue Fehler begehen, die vielleicht zu was ganz Neuem führen. Oft sind auch Künstler, sei es Musiker, Designer, Künstler wie Maler und so weiter und so fort, die machen einen Fehler und daraus entsteht was Unfassbares Gutes. Aber das kann halt nur entstehen, weil dieser Fehler entstanden ist. Das heißt, die sind nicht bewusst in die andere Richtung gegangen und sagen, ey, ich möchte jetzt nicht unbedingt den Status Quo befolgen, sondern ich habe einen Fehler gemacht. Das war unabsichtlich. Und dadurch ist was Neues entstanden. Und das ist auch so ein interessanter Gedanke, weil du hast was Unabsichtliches gemacht und dadurch hast du was Cooles gemacht. Und das ist so vielleicht immer dieser Zwiespalt zwischen, boah, okay, wie viel Research ist gut? Versteht ihr, was ich meine?
Garments, you need to learn and research on construction and techniques before you can produce something truly modern, contemporary and innovative. Knowing the past is probably key to building the present and future. This is what Sarah Burton said in Dazed and Confused magazine in November 2013. So once we shredded everything out and we came to our very raw form of dream that we have in rule number 1, so we found ourselves, we know what we want actually, but we have no idea how to reach it, we come to rule number 2, which is you need to be aware of some rules that exist in fashion. And I know we all love to say break the rules, but to break the rules, you need to know the rules. So as free as creativity is, there are always some rules.
Guck mal, ich kann euch auch was sagen. Ich kann euch einen meiner Ansätze sagen. Manchmal ist es auch interessant, die Perspektive aus einer anderen Weltanschauung zu sehen als die westliche. Und wenn du die Perspektive aus einem anderen Blickwinkel siehst, als was der Status Quo hier in unserer Weltbild ist, siehst, dann kriegst du nicht immer, aber kriegst du oft auch einen anderen Ansatz. Das heißt, die Menschen haben zu verschiedenen Zeitpunkten die Welt unterschiedlich gesehen. In verschiedenen Orten haben die auch einen unterschiedlichen Blick auf die Welt. Ja? Und wenn du das beherzigst, kannst du halt auch den Status Quo hier in Frage stellen, ohne dass du nicht irgendwelche Regeln befolgst. Das heißt, du befolgst Regeln aus einer anderen Periode oder halt aus einem anderen Ort sozusagen. Wir sind sehr viel geprägt von der Popkultur im westlichen Raum, USA, Amerika in general, aber auch Europa in generell. Viele Designer gehen den Ansatz und dadurch kannst du halt Regeln brechen, die vielleicht in dem westlichen Kosmos stattfinden und halt was ganz Neues fürs Auge gestalten. Wohlgemerkt ist unser Auge, unser Gefühl für Ästhetik sehr geschult von dem, was wir halt in unserem Umfeld oder in unserer Lebenszeit wahrgenommen haben.
Have on your mind all the time. My favorite is check the tag. always check the tag and check the stitches.
Ja, auf jeden Fall seid sehr vorsichtig, was andere Kulturen und so weiter und so fort angeht, wegen Cultural Appropriation und so weiter und so fort. Und weil es halt die Gefahr birgt, irgendwas zu tun oder zu nehmen, was emotional belastet ist, sagen wir mal so.
It's not very complex to learn that, and there are a lot of easy ways to get that knowledge as well. Knowing the country of origin and the composition of the materials is one of the most important factors in obtaining a quality in a garment. If you look at Cristobal Balenciaga, you see that he was a master of haute couture, and that's exactly why he was able to break the well-known rituals of aesthetics as well. You shouldn't become a designer, but you should have a...
Cristobal Balenciaga, wenn ihr euch damit mal beschäftigt, das ist auch genau der Punkt, dass er Sachen designt hat, die unfassbar waren, Anklang bekommen haben, dann nicht Anklang bekommen haben, als er in Paris war und dann wiederum Anklang bekommen hat, weil er aus einer anderen Perspektive seine Kleidung gemacht hat, als die zu dem Zeitpunkt in Paris üblich war. Wohlgemerkt, was bei Cristobal Balenciaga auch war, ist, dass er natürlich der absolute König in der Königsdisziplin der Schneiderei war. Und das hebt das Ganze nochmal auf dem Level, dass er sagen kann, okay, ich mache etwas aus einer anderen Perspektive vom Gedanken her, als das Status Quo jetzt. Und ich bin besser in dem Handwerk als der Status Quo jetzt. Das ist natürlich eine unfassbare Kombination.
A rough overview of designers, what they stand for, what ideology and forms they stand for as well. You have...
Ja, absolut. Also, was sie sagt, kauft euch LRF, kurz gesagt. Damit ihr checkt, wofür stehen die Designer, was sind die Aspekte der Designer und so weiter und so fort.
For example, realize that avant-garde doesn't reflect you. It's too much for you. You don't want to go so much in depth when it comes to your style. You don't want to be so expressive. You want to keep it for yourself a bit more. So maybe you just don't want to express a deeper look into history and emotions with your clothes, and maybe you choose Prada instead with the same depth but a more theatrical normality that in this case fits to your personality perfectly. Or you realize you're an eternally youthful person, for example. Tendency to be a bit of a rebel, you decide to wear Martin Rose or Raf Simons. But you can only follow the stylistic guidelines of these designers if you are aware of them. So when I say know the rules, I also mean know the designers. You need to be aware of the 50 most important designers of this century at least, to be aware what exists, and it makes it so much easier because once you find designers that reflect your personality, you can also kind of align with them, even though I'm not a big...
Ja, ich bin ein Typ, wie gesagt, Konzept, Idee geht für mich als erstes. Wenn ich das fühle, was der Designer fühlt oder was er ausdrücken möchte und ich verstehe und ich das gelesen habe und es mir noch klarer wird, was er gemacht hat und warum er das gemacht hat, gibt mir das einen anderen Kick. Und dann feiere ich die Sachen nochmal mehr und habe eine bessere Verbindung zu dem Design und dadurch möchte ich es noch mehr haben.
And to take just one single designer, make a hero out of him, because that also means that you essentially do not focus on the design by itself anymore and the person behind it. And no matter how much I love designers and brands, I never look at the designer's persona, I look at the designs. But of course it's nice if she's...
Ich gucke eiskalt aus Konzept, die Idee und dann die Designs.
...the feminist in the 60s and has fought for women's rights. Mucha, my girl, you know what I mean.
Ich warte auf das Video, wo Tuba nicht Miuccia Prada erwähnt. Ich warte auf das erste Video. Und ich weiß nicht, ob das in diesem Jahrhundert noch stattfinden wird.
So to know the rules means being aware of production, being aware of quality, and being aware of design. These three things, you need to get this knowledge.
Concept.
From somewhere. And there's so much online. I've just been to a museum store a few days ago as well. They have usually a great selection of fashion as well. The books are not very cheap, but I know that you can also buy for way cheaper the PDF versions. I don't know if that's legal though. I think it's legal. But there was one thing that was called Textilepedia. I went...
Ich habe das hier auch irgendwo.
Nuts. It's amazing. Everything is...
Hä? Kannten Sie das nicht? Ich hab das auch hier.
...in it. Every form of composition of wool. You know how we call everything wool? Wool blend and boiled wool, felted wool or something? Yeah, there were like 500 words for different wool compositions. And I don't say turn into a shepherd and gain that knowledge of wool fabrics. But it's amazing to just understand what you're buying at the end. For example, mohair is not mohair, angora is not angora. Wool is not wool, and what can we do with cotton actually? Why is cotton shining like silk sometimes? And Why is silk sometimes looking more like wool and not like silk? And
manchmal frage ich mich so, ey, bin ich einfach, was Bücher angeht, absolut süchtig? Weil das ist mir jetzt schon das zweite Mal in kurzer Zeit aufgefallen, dass ich so Bücher habe, wo ich mir denke, boah, ich habe die schon seit Jahren. Und Leute sagen so, what the fuck?
all these things are things that you need to gain to include all these criteria in your decision making to finally purchase a piece. So you should also have an eye on what the origin of the piece is. If you're living in Europe like me, I would definitely suggest you only buy European items that don't come from overseas. It has nothing to do with the quality of countries like China. They create amazing quality as well, but it's just the fact that it has a huge footprint. So when it comes to designers, I can only recommend you, if you care about the last 60 years or something, Christopher Balenciaga, Alexander McQueen, Magella. Are there more important people to me? No, of course. Prada, these are the ones that are interesting to me. And these are designers where you find tons of knowledge also in amazing magazines. A lot of old interviews sometimes as well. I also watch a lot of YouTube of like old interviews with designers. I love watching the ones with Dries Van Noten, for example. Like, it's amazing what kind of knowledge you can get.
Ja, Dries, ehrlich, tipptopp. Rav, auch top. Ich muss ehrlich sagen, Virgil auch sehr, sehr, sehr krass. Ich habe bestimmt Virgil-Interviews mich schon x-mal gegeben. Rav auch x-mal. Magella-Dokus, rauf, runter.
Lately I've been watching a lot of Galliano, for example, of course. But there's also something, for example, Daltesaurus that I saw in the museum bookstore. It was a bit like a subculture.
Das kenne ich zum Beispiel nicht.
Book, but everything was explained and images
ich habe so ein Buch auch über Subkulturen
shown, and it was really being explained, like what is a dandy, for example. Like, that's something very old school, but I think they didn't have like these new TikTok trend names that we have, but more like the long-lasting big trend and style influences. But there are many books, and as I said, you can get them online as well for a bit cheaper. So you need to know the rules of how it goes, and you need to have a bit of knowledge. So once we ticked rule number 1 and rule number 2, which means we absolutely know who we are, we know we want to be here in 10 years, and we know exactly what our fears are and who's holding us back. We gained some knowledge, we read a few books, we read some essays and a lot of magazines, which are actually for me my favorite form of gaining information, because it's a bit more contemporary, and usually it's a form of a discussion because it's always like a designer in a certain context, but it's not about.
Wenn du dich für den reinen Style-Aspekt bei der Mode interessierst, also das heißt, wie zieht man sich an, modern, was ist modern, wie zieht man sich an und was ist so die aktuellen Topics, dann sind Magazine der absolute Hammer. Mit Magazinen kannst du nichts falsch machen. Dann sammel Magazine, hol dir auch alte Magazine, hol dir neue Magazine. Wenn du aber zum Beispiel mehr interessiert bist an Modegeschichte und den technischen Aspekt von Mode und so weiter und so fort, brauchst du Bücher.
So you gained knowledge about yourself, and now we're coming to the operational part. Rule number 3, experiment. So now you're all alone in a room with yourself.
Ja, kann natürlich auch sein, dass wir oft Videos geguckt haben, die das gleiche behandeln und so weiter und so fort, aber das sagen wir immer wieder, experimentiere, probiere dich mit günstigen Produkten aus, probiere dich mit teuren Produkten aus, um dann zum Beispiel zu gucken, okay, wie gefällt mir der Stoff, wie gefällt mir der Stoff nicht. Wenn du teure Produkte nutzt, kannst du die halt auch wieder verkaufen und das Geld wieder zurückbekommen. Bei günstigen Produkten kannst du am besten Vintage gehen und da einfach deinen Style ausprobieren und dann verschiedene Richtungen probieren, sei es jetzt mal Cowboy Boots Vintage kaufen oder sei es jetzt Workwear Sachen Vintage kaufen und so weiter und so fort. Was bei Zara, H&M und Co. ein bisschen schwieriger ist, da kannst du natürlich auch vieles probieren für günstiges Geld, aber die Kleidung hält nicht. Grundsätzlich diese Prämisse, was wir zu experimentieren mit Kleidung sagen. Natürlich auch selbst was nähen, wohlgemerkt, ne? Selbst was nähen, selbst was schneidern, was umnähen, was ausprobieren.
And it's one-to-one, it's a duel, and you're looking into the mirror and you need to try on the things that you learned in the books that you like so much. So you need to try on pieces. You need to try on a lot of things until you...
Wohlgemerkt kannst du auch einfach ins Kaufhaus gehen und vielleicht die ein oder andere Hose oder das Produkt ausprobieren. Das ist easy, hat jeder gemacht. Seid reingegangen, habt gesagt, boah, ich würde das gerne mal live probieren, habt's dann nicht gekauft und habt's dann entweder online gekauft oder gesagt, nee, ist doch nicht mein Ding. Hat jeder von uns gemacht, gehört dazu.
Understand what suits you. And I know nobody wants to say that there is something where we can generally objectively say this suits to a person more and this less. Everybody knows that this exists. But of course, there are certain norms that restrict us to certain aesthetics that we don't want to support. So it's of course beautiful to embrace yourselves the way you want to, no matter how it suits you. Because this word suits, it's a bit negatively loaded and I don't want to use it too much actually. But you still need to figure out how you feel also comfortable when something looks on you. For example, if you were wearing, not skinny, I mean nobody wears skinny jeans anymore, I hope. But even straight.
Doch, klar. Und ich finde Skinny Jeans gar nicht so verpönt. Ich finde das gar nicht so schlimm. Ich liebe den Elie Simon Look mit YSL. I love it. I still love it. Und ich finde es amazing. Kann ich ihn rocken? Nein, weil er passt mir nicht. Steht mir nicht. Don't do that, Kelly. Ich find Skinny ist jetzt nicht verpönt für mich. Ist nicht so, I can't wear that because my nuts can't fit. Aber that's you and me. We different.
Jeans, and maybe you can force yourself to try baggy jeans. And then you wear baggy jeans and then you're like, oh no, straight jeans actually look better on me. So you might have to learn that super wide shoulders look actually amazing on you. This is something you cannot learn in the books. You might have to learn that wide pants actually look good on you. You might have to...
Hey bro, I'm just saying. I said what I said.
To learn that super tight shirts look good on you. You might have to learn that bulky big shoes look better on you than slender ones. So you need to experiment a lot, and you can go to stores and try on everything you like. Of course, it's a bit sad if you like something and you don't buy it at the end, but it's very important to understand which silhouette you go for. If I have to give an example of myself, I think there are only 2 silhouettes I go for. And I know immediately when I see a piece, you know, it's also giving you so much more time when you choose pieces. I can go into a store with 500 pieces. I don't have to touch anything. I know already what is my silhouette and what not, no matter how beautiful the pieces are. The silhouette, the form is the most important thing. And as Martin Majella said, the shoulder and the heel size or your shoe is the most important thing about your look. It is what defines the silhouette, what defines your attitude, your position. So sometimes I even think of this quote when I want to...
Ich muss ehrlich sagen, ich werde Produkte droppen, wo ihr merken werdet, dass das auch eine der wichtigen Gedanken war. Dass die Schulter eines der wichtigsten Elemente sind, um deine Attitude zu definieren. Und ich will eine bestimmte Attitude definieren, die einen bestimmten Ausdruck hat.
Wear sneakers and I'm just like, Martin would want me to have a little heel now. Anyway, the thing is, you need to experiment, you need to try the things, you need to try colors. I'm trying to implement color in my wardrobe now as well, but I know I can only do it in muted ways, and I will never, as much as I aesthetically love striking colors, like a striking red is beautiful, I will never wear it because I will not feel comfortable in it. And the reason why I don't feel comfortable in it is probably because it doesn't reflect my personality. If you're over the stage of questioning yourself, you will naturally find things uncomfortable if they don't fit with your personality. If you don't know who you are yet, you're questioning yourself all the time. Why do I not like this trend?
Der Cardigan von Du warst echt pretty. Der ist so granny type beat und I love it. Und auch muted und so chic, ugly.
In trends where you feel ridiculous in. It's because you don't know yet who you are. So back to rule number 1. You cannot participate in different trends, or you will do it even more maybe because you are that lost trying to find yourself, and then you're just a sheep in the masses that is very unhappy and very poor probably from buying all the stuff to participate in trends. Be patient.
Also ich bin sehr patient, was das angeht. Ich bin absolut privilegiert, was meinen Kleiderschrank angeht. Ich bin absolut privilegiert, was für Kleidungsstücke ich habe. Aber ich weiß, mir fehlt noch das und das und das und das und das, um diese nächste Stufe mit meinem Style zu packen. Aber ey, wie sie sagt, sei geduldig.
Figured out all these things, like you know who you are. You have knowledge, you know what you like, you are dressed in things, and you know what you look good in, and then you want to buy these things. So that's a critical point. Because if you care a lot about designers and fashion, you might have realized it is also a form of art that sometimes also has the price tag of an art piece.
Und manchmal willst du es auch nur haben und sammeln.
And this is sometimes a bit contrary to your monthly salary maybe. And also not so healthy to participate in everything that you love and adore. You will also realize that once you hop on the fashion train, on the good one, not the trend one, but on the I'm digging deep now and I'm going deeper into the earth core. You know that one, not the one that is Not the Disneyland one where all the TikTok trends are. Not that one. I mean the core one, where you want to build up a full understanding of fashion in the form of art. It comes with a high price tag. And it also still we receive every 6 months, every 3 months new collections, which means new pieces every time. 50 new pieces, 60 new pieces. Some are more impactful, some are less, some we don't even recognize, but there are definitely too many that we recognize and like. And that's the moment where you need to start to be patient and observe. You need to observe pieces, you need to observe yourself watching the pieces come and go, how you feel. Personally, I experience very often that I go nuts for something, that I want to pre-order something. And
ich muss ehrlich sagen, ich lasse oft so Produkte zum Beispiel einfach ziehen, dass ich sage, okay, holst du nicht. Und wenn es mich dann nochmal in 6 Monaten triggert, dann schreibe ich mir auf meine Liste. Und wenn ich darüber nachdenke, mir dies weiterzuholen in einem Jahr, in einem halben Jahr, in einem Dreivierteljahr, wie auch immer, wie lange, dann weiß ich, okay, ich will das Produkt wirklich haben. Und das so, ich will das Produkt haben oder ich will ein Produkt aus der Kollektion haben, weil diese Kollektion wirklich so was in mir bewegt hat, no sexual. Weiß ich dann, okay, das Produkt will ich wirklich haben und dann wird es irgendwann zu mir kommen. Das Produkt wird mich irgendwann finden, denke ich mir. Ich sage euch straight, wie es ist. Ich denke mir straight oft, das Produkt wird mich irgendwann finden.
2 months after it's being launched, I just figure, I don't need it. I don't even crave it. But I would have bought it 2 months ago. So waiting is something that is very essential when you want to build your own style as well, because it keeps you also from purchasing the wrong items. Sometimes you're distracted, you're deluded, you don't know what you like immediately, and you're kind of also a bit influenced from the beautiful ID magazine editorials where you saw the pieces in. That's why I can say create wish lists. Wish lists are the thing that save.
Perfekt, wie sie sagt, glaubt mir, macht euch Wishlists mental auf dem Handy. Guck mal, wie real das ist. Ich sag euch so, ich speichere mir nicht nur Produktnamen in meiner Notiz oder mentale Notiz mache ich von bestimmten Produkten. Ich mache mir Runway-Notizen. Ich screenshotte mir Runway-Bilder und sage, boah, okay, irgendwann werde ich das holen. Boah, irgendwann wirst du das holen. Und pack die in einen Ordner. Ich sag's euch, wie es ist, so ein Type Beat.
My life. I have wish lists on Essence, on Vestiaire Collective, on The Real Wheel, on every website that I find quite interesting when it comes to their curation. I have actually a wish list and I just observe. I never buy things on retail price. I actually always wait for them because I do have the time, and since I don't purchase too many items and since I know my style, it's okay for me to wait for an amazing piece 6 months to go on sale and then I buy it for half price off. You don't have to have it immediately. If you want to, you can of course go for it. There are also pieces that I immediately bought. If you are also getting into fashion, the fun and the endorphins, everything is connected with actually kind of the hunt for a perfect piece. I love that.
Ich liebe die Jagd nach dem perfekten Piece. Ihr wisst nicht, wie oft ich meinen Kleiderschrank aufmache und denke so, boah, das Piece ist so hart. Oh mein Gott, ich bin so dankbar, dich zu haben.
Vestiaire Collective for hunting. Sponsor me not. I did way too many ads for this website and they took way too much money from me. But you need to be a bit more reserved when it comes to making your decisions. As I said, second-hand luxury houses are amazing because you can make offers, so you get things even for a better price. And it also gives you the time to reflect on your intention concerning a certain aesthetic. I need to put...
Bro, ich habe komplette Dachschaden. Ich habe diesen Schaden schon seitdem ich, keine Ahnung, 10 oder 12 bin. So, der war vielleicht mal flüchtig weg, weil Feiern kurz wichtiger war und man sich nicht beides gleichzeitig leisten konnte. Aber danach hat er wieder gehittet. Und dann war der plötzlich während des Feierns auch wichtig, weil du wolltest ja noch fresh aussehen. So, und ich hatte auch immer einen anderen Style als meine Freunde. Andere Liebe für Klamotten. Schon von klein auf.
Push myself back right now for Miu Miu. I need to be very careful because I'm not a huge fan of everything, but certain things I'm a huge fan of. So I need to be very careful if this is just like my inner trend vibe that I try to follow, or if it's really an essential piece for my aesthetic and will fit into my wardrobe. Because I do definitely not like uniform wardrobes. I have a lot of different aesthetics for all my personality traits, but there are certain personality traits that are reflected, so I need certain pieces that fit in. And the amazing thing is, even if you don't want it, the websites will stalk you, they will find you, and they will send you notification if something goes more on sale or less on sale, or if it's gone. Last week I had a little mental breakdown because you know that piece that you have been watching on Vestiaire Collective for 2 years, you would never have bought it, it was too expensive, but then somebody buys it. Yeah, that was tough. It honestly took me like
No joke, same. Ich kann den Charakter eines Menschen erkennen anhand seiner Klamotten. Nicht immer, aber oft.
days to get over it. But it's okay. I knew all along I was not going to buy it. But, you know, it's like letting an old friend go. It's actually pretty emotional. So being patient means you restrict yourself also for making impulsive decisions, and you also understand if there's maybe a lost chance of getting something, how you feel towards that. And believe me, 90% of the time you realize, okay, I'm not crying about it right now. I actually have 2 other pieces that look very similar and doesn't make a lot of sense to have had bought that. So that's fine. So that's about it. These are my 4 rules that I think are necessary stages to find your true style at the end and stick to pieces that reflect your true self. But still, since I received so many amazing comments from you guys, I want to name some of those, which I think is amazing. You really had some very insightful thoughts. Very short and quirky, but I will mention them right now. Learn the rules to break the rules. Don't turn into a costume.
Richtig.
Start knowing yourself.
Ja,
Use what you like, not what others like.
absolut.
Tailor your clothes.
Wichtig.
Know your colors. Good
Ja.
things are worth the wait.
Absolut.
Read the labels, materials, country of origin.
Ja.
The allergy to boredom is the best power wheel. Think of
Ja.
your hero when you were a child.
Absolut.
Start looking inward for inspiration.
D'accord.
Experiment with weird clothes. Appreciate
Ja.
things from afar. Not everything needs to be owned.
True.
Create mood boards. I'm not a mood board.
Ja, wollte ich gerade auch sagen, ich bin nicht so der Moodboard-Typ. Aber ich weiß, dass das so für Freunde in meinem Umfeld auch sehr gut funktioniert, so Moodboard, so dies und jenes. Aber ich bin nicht so der Moodboard-Type-Beat. Ich finde auch nicht die Bilder, wie ich mich selbst visuell sehe. So, das hat nie funktioniert.
Imagine your Rick Owens as well not. Imagine your life as a job. Oh, this I love. This one I love.
Na, aber Rick sagt nicht, dass er kein Fan von Moodboards ist, sondern Rick sagt, don't show your Moodboard. Also zeigt nicht eure Inspos.
Imagine your life as a job and you need to create a uniform for it. What would it be? I loved this answer. Imagine your life is a job and you need to create a uniform for that job. What would it be? What is yours? It's so hard because it's a uniform, so I still don't want to be too minimalistic, even though the essential fundament of a uniform is being basic in some sort.
Ich muss ehrlich sagen, für Lore habe ich das. Aber das ist auch die Art und Weise, wie gesagt, wie ich an Sachen rangehe. Ich habe das. Wie viele Produkte referieren wir immer wieder? Also nicht die Reference, die wir brauchen, damit die Produktion das checkt, sondern die Reference, die das Gefühl von Lore widerspiegelt. Nur die Anzahl sind mehr als 1, aber es sind so, ich glaube, so 3 oder 4 Pieces. Klar, wir haben dann nochmal so dies oder das, aber diese 3, 4 Pieces bedeuten alles. Wenn ich jetzt sage, boah, das sind 3, 4 Pieces, bla bla, ihr denkt, boah, okay, ich referiere. Nein, diese 3, 4 Pieces, manchmal, wir nehmen eine Naht daraus für ein Produkt.
I think mine would be a good wool pant.
Warte, a good wool pant, a good coat, funny shoes, also funny heels oder funny sneaker.
And a tight tank top. Okay, sorry. It's super basic. Maybe, okay, a super eclectic shoes like Dries van Noten or Prada.
Hab ich gesagt, funny shoes.
Yeah, that's good. And then a long, thin coat.
Tuba, ich kenn dich. Alleine durch deine Videos. I can guess who you are.
And then big earrings. Yeah, okay, that's my uniform. What is yours? Stop dressing to impress men and feed the male gaze.
Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry for being man.
Absolutely true. I think this could be another video. Feeding the male gaze or is there a female gaze? Is there a female gaze as well? Probably, right?
Ja, semi, aber nicht für so Fashion people.
Don't be too literal, build a juxtaposition. Of course, very essential. Like, if you want to create an eclectic, but like in an interesting way and contrasting way, you need to break something in the look. So you cannot go full monochrome, even though being full monochrome is a look in itself. It is not as interesting. It is a bit boring. Minimalism or like pure maximalism, like that is purely one aesthetic is a bit. It works very well. It's also not my personal taste. I like it when it's a bit mixed. Don't care about other people's opinions. Easier said than done. I think I made it out of it, but if you're especially in a corporate environment or in just any job where you are being judged by your colleagues, it's hard to fight against that all alone. Either you just don't fight and you understand these people will never understand it. I know it can be hurtful. If you have the chance, try to be in a different environment if you have the possibility. I never was in such a toxic environment in my life, but I can imagine it's really not embracing the level of happiness in life. Forget about flattering. Honestly, yes, I say it. Of course, I find myself searching for then a flattering piece at the end maybe as well. But yes, forget about flattering. Definitely essential to experiment with new forms and silhouettes. Trust your intuition, 100%. Trust your intuition always. Always trust your intuition. I think that's rule number one, like before knowing yourself maybe even. Like intuition is, guys, it's the thing.
Ja, aber deine Intuition kann dich auch schnell in die falsche Richtung schlagen.
To go. Don't ask other people for opinions. Never ask somebody. That's the worst thing you can do. Never ask somebody, does that suit me? Like, of course, you can ask people to, what do you think about this? Because you're interested in people's opinions, but don't base your stylistic choice on other people's opinions. This we don't do. We don't do that here. Before buying, asking myself, will this evolve my style? Interesting. I think there are pieces that are essentials and that cannot really evolve your style, but more like manifest your style, and because it's a fundamental piece maybe. But of course, if it's a big investment, I also always wanted to kind of evolve my style, because you can always do better and go into a new direction. Change is the most important thing in life. Change is the best thing. Like, you always need to change to improve your style. With improve your style, I don't mean owning the newest pieces. It's just you change every day, and this needs to be reflected in your style, and going for the same and same over and over again is some form of stagnation. Not settling for less, absolutely. This doesn't
Aber Stagnation ist voll gut, wenn du dich angekommen fühlst, was Style angeht.
You should go to Loro Piana and say, hey, I cannot settle for less. I need the best cashmere in the world. Not that, but you can quit some things such as fast fashion. I know everybody can do that.
True.
Everybody can do that, and I know from my Discord, and everybody's doing an amazing job finding insane pieces thrifted, living in also not in big towns, so nobody tell me you had no choice. Don't get influenced, guys. Don't get influenced from your phones and people that you see. Don't do that. You will be cooler. It takes time. You will not get the recognition you want. You will not maybe have the likes you want, but it's always worth it to stick to your aesthetic. It will always pay off, always. So, don't forget to like this video too.
Okay, sehr nice, hat mich gefreut. Like das Video von Tuba, like das Video von mir, abonniert den Kanal und schreibt mir einen netten Kommentar. Dieses Video war so lang, that's crazy.